If you're a business owner and you still haven't used Claude Skills in your business, well, then you're missing out on the most powerful feature of AI. You see, the thing about Claude Skills is that it turns AI into an actual employee in your business. You write down how you do something once, your steps, your standards, what good looks like, and AI follows that process every single time, not making a random guess, but an actual process like how you would do it in your business. And in this video, I'll show you what Claude Skills are, how they work, and how you can get them set up inside your business so you can start having AI employees working for you. Okay, so the easiest way for me to explain what a skill is to envision a skill kind of like an IKEA box. If you've ever went to IKEA and you've bought some furniture and you've self-assembled it, well, you probably opened up the manual, you found some screws, you found some tools, you found all the pieces, you followed the steps, and then you built it and you got an output. Well, it's the same thing. So if we want AI to create repeatable results in your business, we'd give it a skill. And in this case, it'll look like so. So you give AI the IKEA box, which kind of acts like a skill or a folder. So you tell AI what to build. It has all the tools inside and how to build it. AI opens the box. It goes through the stuff. It opens up the manual over here. It knows everything what to do step by step. It takes the tools, the wood pieces, the nails, all the stuff. And because AI can think, AI has reasoning, AI can do it all for you because it has judgment and thinking. So it can build and follow these processes, and then you get the same quality every time. So whenever you give this packaged like skill or like box, it does it the same way every time. You get a repeatable output. Now, if you think about it, what's actually inside the box is the manual on how to do things is the SKILL.md folder, which I'm going to go in a moment on how that looks like. Okay, the parts that you put together, this could be the templates, the examples, or reference documentation that you could give for AI to do a specific process or workflow. Tools is all the AI capabilities that AI would need to do this. So this could be the code, the writing, analysis. These are tools that AI could use, like Python scripts and so on. Now, the image, let's say as an example over here, is expected output. So now you give clarity on what the expected output should look like so AI can evaluate it and understand how the skill is actually delivering the result that you want. And the whole package itself is the skill folder. So now AI can grab it off the shelf and can create this specific product for you, which has an output to it, which is in this case, which is an IKEA table. But for you, ideally, it's a digital asset, something that will generate you money or do a specific workflow in your business. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video, I am going to be sharing the meta skill that I use to create skill systems. Now, skill systems are when you have multiple skills across your business that chain and link together that allow AI to do big pipeline types of work. So workflows that actually do parts of your business. Now, it's different from the traditional skills because traditional skills are designed just to do one specific process, task, or workflow, while skill systems are skills that are connect, chain, and actually operate a full system of your business. So if you're interested in that, in building up skills or turning AI into actual AI employees in your business, you can click the link below to get the Claude skill and join us on the live workshop if you're running it. See you inside. So in your business, you're probably going to have many different skills. Now, the way that AI interacts with skills is that it's very context efficient. So it's only going to interact with the skill that is relevant to your request. So let's say an example, you want a Puang chair from IKEA. That's their most famous chair. You ask AI, hey, can you create a Puang chair? Or this could be any different workflow in your business. AI is going to look through all of your skills and then going to only take the relevant skill to do that workflow or to create that digital asset for you. So that's a cool thing about skills is that it's progressive disclosure. It's not going to open up the box and create this whole mess or create this context pollution unless it is actually the task that it's going to. So if you notice, we have the name here and we have the picture. So that kind of looks like in the skill.md folder. So if we go into the anatomy, the way that Claude identifies what skill to use, it identifies a skill from the skill name, which is inside the skill.md folder. So it reads the skill name first and identifies, is that the skill that we're using? And then it goes through the skill.md folder to identify if there's any relevant stuff inside that is also relevant. So AI isn't going to pretty much read everything at once. It's going to look at the label, kind of like looking at the box. And then once it identifies, yes, this is the skill we need to use, then it's going to interact with the tools inside and only take the tools required to do a specific task. So let's say you want to do one specific workflow and it's within this skill. AI will open up that skill and will do that only single workflow for you. And it will reference the references, scripts, and agents if needed, and so on. So because again, skills are very customizable, the main tool here is the SKILL.md folder, which acts as the manual. Kind of think of it as a table of contents, right? We want to know what to do first, so the SKILL.md routes to the AI where to look, and then AI can look and identify what needs to get done. So to dive a little bit deeper, how does the SKILL.md folder looks like? Well, we have a name at the top, which is the name of the skill, which should be clearly named so it's easier for AI to identify it, and it should be distinguishable compared to other skills. So you don't want to have like write email and then have something email writer. You want to have one skill that does one thing consolidated so it doesn't get confused. Then there's a description so that AI understands how to use this skill. And this also helps AI identify, is this the relevant skill? So this part here is called the YAML front matter. And the YAML front matter is what acts like what's going to come up in the front of the IKEA box. So this right here is what they call the YAML front matter, and it's customizable. So the minimum to have is you'd have a name and you'd have a description, right? You can have some other front matters like workflows and stuff as optional, but the main basics is you need the name and description, because this is what allows AI to identify, yes, this is the skill we need. So once AI identifies, yes, this is the skill that is relevant to our specific task or to your request, then it will take your request and then match it. It'll use a routing. So let's say you want to create one specific workflow in this skill. It will go through and look through that workflow. So it'll open up the workflow folder and it'll run this specific workflow, which might be step 1. User says review Y, it might do step 2, which is a review workflow. Or user might say publish Z, it might follow workflow 3. So skills can be modulated in different ways. It can have workflows, you can have other skills and so on. So again, this is very customizable. Okay, so generally in a business, you'll find yourself creating 3 types of skill. The first skill is the simplest skill. AI would act as a collaborator with you. AI will interview you and you'd give it relevant answers. It might do some research on your behalf, and then it will create a document or an asset for you. So this might be creating a proposal, this might be creating a research document, might be creating a strategy, maybe a blueprint, and so on. Because if you think about it, in your business, in order to generate results, you need to have a strategy, you need to have research, you need to get data. So collaboration as a business owner is one of the most powerful skills you're going to have. Okay, so that's one type of skill. The next skill you'll probably have is an automation, where you just want Claude to run something automatically without you in the loop. Okay, so that's automation. Now, these can be combined, of course. So you can have a skill that you collaborate, and then it automates a step, and so on. And then the last one is validate. Let's say you want a skill that AI checks the work and validates stuff, so you can have a skill for that. These are just 3 basic ones. You can probably have many different types of skills based on what you think a workflow you need to get done in your business. So how do you find skills to create? So the easiest way to think of is think about a role in your business. And then when you have a role, you want to break it down into workflows. Workflow A, B, C, D, E, F. So whatever role you think of, you want to break it down into workflows. So an example, let's say, is creating content, right? Step 1 might be looking at research, seeing the data, what content is performing well. Stage 2 might be creating the hooks, or like creating some drafts. Stage 3 might be creating the title. Stage 4 might be drafting it. Stage 5 might be putting it together into a visual and carousel, and stage 5 might be publishing it. So it really depends on what the workflow looks like, but ideally you'd find workflows where you need to collaborate with AI. Okay, so AI interviews you, AI automates a step, or AI validates a step. Okay, so generally those are the workflows you're going to have, and these can be separate skills, or this can be all combined into one skill. So skills can be one specific workflow, or skills can be all workflows combined. If you want to combine it into one skill, that does work as well. So a quick example here is, let's say you want to teach AI how to publish on your platforms. Okay, that would be an automation step, because you're just getting AI to automate. Let's say a workflow is you want to draft some hooks and you want to draft some content, some scripts. Well, that would be a collaboration step, because you need to collaborate with AI and to guide AI with your taste and judgment, creativity to create content that looks good. So those are some examples of how you can turn workflows or how you can identify when you can create skills in your business. So if you decide to use AI without skills, let's say an example, I say create a campaign for my workshop. Well, it's just going to give us some AI guesses and you probably need to rewrite, and this is completely useless. Okay, so we definitely don't want to do this. Now, with a skill, if we have it documented on our process on how we create a campaign, then we can have much better outputs from here. So AI knows that our target audience, so we give it our target audience, or it knows it from the skill itself. It's documented, it has context. It understands our brand voice. It understands the hooks that we could use, how we identify hooks, email sequences, everything goes together. So AI can actually do work. So again, we gave AI the skill and AI can do the work predictably. Now, if you think about it, if you use AI and you don't have skills, well, you're just going to have AI act as a chatbot. And if you have AI work as a chatbot, then you're going to continue doing all the work in your business. So let's say these are the things you need to do, like proposal, campaigns, reports, and onboarding. Well, you're just going to do all the work yourself and everything's reliant on you. But when you have skills set up, now you can have an AI agent do one specific workflow for you. Let's say it's proposals, then you want to do campaigns, you do reports and onboarding, and then your business pretty much is an AI first business because it has the skills documented and all the workflows are clear. So you can imagine how much more leveraged your business will be if you can have AI support you and help you and actually act as employees in your business. All right, so we're in Claude. I want to show you two things. First, I want to show you an output without a skill and show you why AI doesn't hit the mark, and then an output with the skill and how that changes things. So I'm going to use the simplest example so it's clear to everyone. I'm going to have AI just write some content because it's pretty easy. So I have a prompt already have over here. I'm going to ask Claude to create a quick LinkedIn post. So I'm going to click on enter and let's see what happens. So ideally AI is going to create something that sounds very generic and has some AI over here. So it's going to have some M dashes and so on. So, and a lot of like awkward writing. So it wrote this. So I actually have a skill that teaches Claude how to write in a more human voice. It has filler words. It has some like ands, buts, so's. So I'm going to go ahead and install that skill. So if you want to install a skill, I'm going to go to customize. I'm going to go to skills and I'm going to click on plus over here. And I'm going to click on upload skill. So there's create skill. If you want to create a skill, you can go ahead and create a skill. So I'm click on upload a skill. Now in this video, I'm not going to create a skill because that's going to take a really long time. But if you want to see how I create skills, I do have videos on my channel. I'm going to link them in the cards above and in the description. You can check those out. But I'm going to go ahead and upload the skill over here. So I found it right over here, Writing Humanize. Let's install that. And then let me show you how it looks like. So again, like how a skill looks like, there's a SKILL.md. So this is the description. And then there's some YAML front matter over here. So I built this skill on Claude Code. So some of the stuff here is optimized for Claude Code. But basically, if I ask AI to humanize something, it'll know to use this skill because it has a YAML front matter over here. So it has make AI generated text sound human, 24 pattern scan, 13 voice rules, blah, blah, blah. Use when user says humanize this, or make the sound human, voice cleanup, remove AI patterns. So whenever I want AI to remove the AI items or remove AI patterns or voice cleanup, it will use the skill. So that's how AI knows it. So kind of think of this like the image of the IKEA box. Then like the label is Writing Humanize. So think of that. This is a box or a package that Claude's going to pull up, open up the package, and then actually implement it. Okay, so it's going to go here. And if you look over here, the workflow routing system, when user says humanize this, it's going to use this workflow. So it's going to read this markdown. Okay, so from read the markdown, it knows what to do. And then there's some more instructions over here that AI will read through and it will understand what to use. So like complex words, let's say your single sentence cause effect chains, how I write, confidence killing words, psychological distancing check, like everything here can be referenced. There's also reference over here. So editing library, how to change before to after. So AI has some examples. This is the Humanize full, which goes over the full workflow and what to do. These are all the rules to check. And then some taboo phrases, like these, don't use these phrases. Instead, change these phrases to something else. Okay, so it basically gives a full system that AI can run and has all these references. Again, think of it like building an IKEA furniture, you know, like I want to get this output in the end. These are the instructions I need to follow. Let me follow it, and then I can get the output that I want. So let's go back to the chat, and I'm going to ask, hey, Claude, can you run the Humanize skill on this? Now, technically, I could say, hey, can you humanize this? It would do this, but I want to be a little bit more explicit. So now it's reading the Humanize skill, and it's going to apply it. Let's see. Okay, so it found some issues. So active voice, instant fail phrases, theatrical buildup, complex words, and so on. So makes it much more simpler. So most business owners are asking the wrong question about AI. They ask what tool should I use when they should be asking what skill am I building. So here's why building skills is probably the single most important thing you can do in your business right now. AI doesn't do your thinking for you. It takes the thinking you've already done and runs it at scale. But if you haven't built a repeatable skill yet, writing, selling, diagnosing client problems, building systems, then AI has nothing to work with. You're handing it a blank page and it figures out what good looks like. Perfect. You're not giving it a manual. Now compare that to a business owner who spent years getting good at sales conversation. That person can build an AI system that handles qualifications, follow-up, and objection handling because they already know what a good conversation sounds like. They've done it 100 times. AI just runs their playbook without them being in the room. So this sounds way better. It sounds way more human. So if we compare to the original one over here, so like this is okay, but this is, you can clearly tell that this is AI. But this is a little bit harder to tell that it's AI. Like this is something that how I would write it. So this is an example of a skill that you would use in content creation, right? This would be one workflow, right? In a content creation process. Now you want to think about what are other skills that you could use in your business as well. Again, skills can be collaborative skills, can be research skills, or can be validation skills. This skill is more like an automation / validation skill, doing a quality check. But yeah, when you have skills in your business and you have AI running workflows that you do yourself, and basically transforming content is a big workflow because having content sound like you is high leverage, but there's a lot of other high leverage skills that you can have in your business, and that completely transforms how you run your business. So let me show you how. So if we go back to this visual, if you look at in your business, you're probably going to have a lot of roles or parts of your business that you want to have workflows running, right? For each workflow, again, you want to figure out whether this is a collaborative workflow, whether you need to work with AI. Is it an automated workflow where AI just does something, or is it a validating workflow where AI goes through data and validates and checks the work? Okay, so those are the main three ones. Now, once you are able to get a lot of workflows done, you then can have it run throughout your whole business. So let's take a step back. So main question you might have here is, how do we find areas where we can create skills? Skills can be in any part of your business, okay? There's definitely workflows that you can have a skill work. Let's say for lead acquisition, finding leads, qualifying leads, nurturing leads. If these are what you do in your business, then you'd break that down into workflows, right? You break down to workflows and you figure out what skill can do one small part of the workflow, and then you develop that skill over time until you have one skill or multiple skills allowing you to do one specific process. So ideally, you want to have skills ready to find leads, skills ready to help you qualify leads, skills to help you nurture leads, and then let's say that's a lead acquisition, and then you have sales next and onboarding. You have skills that help you create proposal, maybe that would feed from the information you get from the lead. Then you have one that helps you close, maybe do follow-up, one that helps you onboard. You have a skill that, or a workflow that you give to customers and clients, and AI can interview them, and that creates like a custom strategy. So that could be one example. Or like, and once that's done, there's delivery and fulfillment. How can you use AI to help you execute and deliver the work faster? Maybe helping you come up with strategy and so on. How can AI help you with reporting? Like the reports, how AI can help you with retaining clients, like improving the service and so on. So if you actually take a big picture of your business, there's plenty of places where you can have skills built up and where you can potentially have an AI employee operating, or at least doing 80% of that task over here. Okay, so this is what I call a chief leverage officer. Chief Leverage Officer. And I call it a Chief Leverage Officer because your goal is to run your business on leverage. And it runs on leverage because AI does most of the work. Okay, so that's what I mean. Compared to a CEO, which I like to call a Chief Everything Officer. Chief Everything Officer would do everything themselves. Okay, so the goal as a business owner is you don't want to be CEO or Chief Everything Officer where you do everything, you need to manage everything. You want to be a Chief Leverage Officer where you're in charge of building up leverage in your business. And in this case, in this day and age, it's implementing AI. Now, if you enjoyed that, I do write a daily newsletter called the Chief Leverage Officer's newsletter. So if you do want, if this does resonate with you, you can check the link below to join my newsletter. Now, I'm also running a workshop where I'm sharing my meta skill on how I create Claude Skills systems. Now, this meta skill is different from Anthropic's basic skill because Anthropic's basic skill is just teaching you how to create skills to do one specific task that doesn't link to other tasks or other workflows. The best skills are the skills that link and chain to other skills and are connected with different workflows. That way, AI can do work in your business in a pipeline way. Because ideally, we want to have skills all connected together like so. And that's a skill I'm going to be giving out. So if you're interested in that, you can click the link in the description as well. Other than that, if you liked the video, feel free to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.